Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Today is going to be a good video because guess what? We have to go into a city in the next few days. So my mind started thinking, we've done videos on items of survival and things that we're needing here in these rural communities that we live in on our farm. Bugging in or bugging out, all that's been talked about. But what about the city? What about us living in cities? Misty and I got to go to the city, so it makes me think, what would we need and what do we have and what are we carrying? What is our prep? What is our survival plans if we were to live in a city full time? So today we're going to talk about some of the items, the skills, and some of the know-how that you need to live in the city, but also be ready to hunker down or bug out if you have to survive when the crap hits the fan. Hope you enjoy this video. I think it's gonna be a good one. Let's jump right into it. So today's video is going to be a good one. As I said in the intro, we are actually going to a city. So it may, even though we're going just for a few days, it makes you think, for people who live in the city, and a lot of you guys who watch have mentioned this, I can't buy certain things or I can't have certain things because I live in an apartment or I live in an urban area. What do we need to do? So today's video is going to be really focused on that. Now all these things can be pushed right back to us who live here on the farm, but these are really more centralized to things I would think of that I would need when I would live in a city, if I ever lived in a city, which to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't, but just in case. But when we think about going there, just like this week we have to go there, I need to have my game plan on what I need. So first and foremost, when we talk about skills or items and things that we need in a survival situation in an urban city or a suburban area where you don't have gardens, you don't have yards, you're in an apartment. First and foremost, you need to have a plan. What that plan looks like is you need to have a twofold plan. Okay, if I stay here, what is my plan? If I leave here, what is my plan? That's really open-ended and it doesn't make any sense right now, but think about this. Say for instance, you've got a situation where there's a gunman close and you don't know where they're at. Well, the last thing you want to do is run out. You want to hunker down. You want to have a plan to make sure that you're not having to go anywhere. Say there's war going on. You want to hunker down. Say there's a major catastrophe going on outside that's not affecting you inwardly, but you need to have the supplies and the things to hunker down, to bug in. So you need to make sure you have a game plan on, prepping inside, making sure you have tons of canned food, tons of ramen noodles, tons of water, tons of things that you need that you can survive with, but just the bare necessities. I'd say you need at least, 7 to 10 days at minimal, 30 to 60 days, and all truthfulness, that's what you need. You can buy enough ramen, canned food, and water, even though you'd get tired of it. Seasonings, anything like that can get you by in a tough situation. So that would be like a bug in plan, number one. Now let's talk about the second part of that, bug out plan. You need to have gear ready to go and a plan ready to go. Now we're going to talk about some of the things you're going to need, but what I'm trying to say is you need to be having a thought pattern of what am I doing? I need to have a goal that if I have to get out of this city and I can't use mass transportation, I've got to find a way out and I've got to get my family to safety. So now let's really jump into the main items and skills that I think you're going to need. First and foremost, you have to plan. You can't just go after it. You need to have a place of what's your destination, where you're going to, what would be the case if I needed to stay in, what am I looking at doing? Hunkering down or bugging out or both, because there's going to be different situations. Now we talk about survival situations, but hurricanes come. There's a lot of urban areas that's right in hurricane central. There's a lot of major metropolitan cities that deal with tornadoes. So there's sometimes you're going to bug out that has nothing to do with a survival worldly situation. It may have to do with a natural disaster. So you need to have goals and plans for bugging in, bugging out, and understand the value of both of those plans. Don't just have a one-size-fits-all. Even here on our farm, we have a bug-in plan because that is what we're going to do. Last case scenario is a bug-out plan. Make sure you have that plan intact. Okay, so, and again, we bring this up in every video, water. You have to have water. Now, we'll talk about food. We've always talked about food, but this is really more on water purification, water filtration. In a bug-in situation, you may have an opportunity to boil your water. Of course, the best thing, perfect. But in a bug out situation, you may not can. So you need to look towards some kind of filtration system. I know people's talked about Berkeys, you know, Sawyer filters, Life Straws, all those things. Now let's talk about the people who don't have that. You have things in your household that could help you clean your water. You have bleach. Not that I would recommend you pouring bleach in your water, but if you need to do 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 drops per gallon to get the water somewhat clean for you to drink to help you not get sick, that's an option. You can buy iodine. Iodine is something you can drop a few drops in your water. You need to look at both of those. You need to have a plan and knowing exactly how much, because too much can be very harmful to you, and not enough could still make you very, very sick. So there is a science to it. Learn the science. I'm not here to tell you the science. I'm just here to tell you the things you may need. So iodine and bleach are 2 things that you may have in your home from other situations. Another option is buy water purification tablets. It's already kind of done for you. They sell them in any camping section, pretty much anywhere, from the big box stores to the small sporting goods that's local. You need to pick up some water purification tablets. I have tons in my bug out bag. We're a family of 8, so again, not only do we have purification straws, not only do we have filtration systems, not only can we boil water, our goal is to have those little tablets too. So throw those in your repertoire. Make sure you have those, and make sure, I mean, they're very cost efficient. I think we paid like 10 bucks for a, you know, just a little thing of them. So I'd get those. Now, when you're bugging out, you can't just carry tons of water, but you need to have some kind of thermos, some kind of way to be able to grab your water up to then turn around and filter it. If you're bugging in, of course, you live in your home, you may have ways to have a glass or bottle or drinking canister of some sort. But bugging out, make sure you are taking some kind of way to pick up your water and the means of making sure you can treat it. If you have no ways to collect your water, then you're going to be sitting there in a puddle trying to drink something, and that's not good. So make sure you're planning for water filtration, water purification, because that is key. No matter where you live, you have to have water. We have finished the cow chores. Just to move on to the rest of them. It's a beautiful day here on the farm. So I challenge you, when you watch these kind of videos, just like you hear the birds chirping, there's always hope on a horizon to know there's a goal set. That's why it's so important to have that plan, is because you need to have a plan to say, this is not doom and gloom, this is not the end of the world, this is a means for where a trial I have to get through. So have those plans, because you always need to have goals to make sure you're getting to your destination, or you're hunkering down and surviving the situation. Number 3, very, very important to me, is first aid. You need to make sure you have a medical supply. Very, very simple. You don't have to have this big hospital on your back, bugging in or bugging out. We keep a medical supply in our house for safety. We keep things like Jace Medical, I've told you about in videos before, and you can, if you're interested in them, there's a link below. We also have, you know, over-the-counter medicines. We have Band-Aids, we have gauze, we have peroxides, alcohols, all those things in our home. I feel like we do have a mini hospital in our house. But when we talk about if I have to leave, you need to have a secondary, smaller set of medical supplies that can go with you. We have what we call a little med bag. That med bag goes with us everywhere we go, and it has everything that we just talked about in a smaller, simpler form. I usually hook it to my bug out bag, but it literally can just go around your waist, almost like a fanny pack. If you want to be really cool, it could be a really cool fanny pack. But you need to have those kind of things to where you can grab that medical supply. Don't try to scavenge through what you have already. Your medical supply in home needs to be completely different than your little medical supply that you travel with. We put it in our bags even when we go out of town. When we go to town, we have that little medical supply, because you never know what you may need, because in town things can get crazy too. You know, it can get crazy going to Walmart now in our crazy world we live in. So we keep that little medical supply with us always. Things like trauma shears, so that is scissors that can cut just about through anything. So incision stitches, we have, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You need to just make sure that you are working towards a medical supply, not only in your home, but also to take with you a first aid kit, a travel supply kit. My wife is actually working on a phenomenal video, and the reason we're taking a dear precious time on it, we've been working on it for about 2 weeks, is because we want to go over every little thing that we have in both sets of our first aid kit and medical supply, so that way hopefully it'll help you. So be checking out for that video coming up in the next few weeks. Well, the sun is definitely here to join us this morning. It's going to be a warm day. The ducks look happy this morning. Fresh water, fresh grass for the day. I would tell you to have your plan. Have some things that are ready to go if you ever had to get out of the city, or if you had to make a plan to get out of the city. It goes back to our first point, planning. You need to have a few things in a bag ready to rock. Bug out bag, survival bag, I don't care what you call it, you need to have it. Now everything that we've talked about, as if you are a true professional prepper, and you've been doing this for years, this stuff you already have. This video is really for people who have not prepped and is just getting started. So I hope some of the things that we talk about can help, but ultimately they're very simple. Things that you can do and get ready for in just a few days. Now, when we talk about the things that we're getting ready for, make sure you're always adding to and making these skills even better. You never are ready. You always want to be prepared to be ready. So you need to always be prepping, always be adding to, always be making better sense of what you're looking at, even in your plan. So it brings us to our next point. Scavenging, pillaging, understanding your surroundings. That's not something you can buy. That's something you have to learn. So when you put yourself in the situations where you can't forage for food, you can't forage for medicinal herbs, you're in the concrete jungle, there's going to be things that you may have to go past or see. There's going to be old abandoned cars, any and everything in old buildings busted up. Now, I'm not saying loot and I'm not saying steal. I would never say those things, and I don't think you would ever need to resort to that. But there's going to be necessities that you can grab along the way when you're in the surroundings that you're in. So say you are bugging out, you're trying to get out of the city, there's carnage everywhere and utter dismay, and things like that can happen, but you need to understand your surroundings and finding needs and things that you can utilize. If there's abandoned stuff, if there's abandoned cars, if there's abandoned anything, XYZ, you need to learn to utilize what you can find. Pillage through it, forage through it. I didn't say steal, I didn't say loot. That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm saying you utilize what's around you. If you're in a situation where you can build shelter, you need to build shelter. If you're in a place where you can hunker down, hunker down. If you have to keep on moving because you see what's around you, it's all about understanding your surroundings. If you can barter with someone or you can help someone, you need to help someone, no doubt. But in a situation where there's riots, there's carnage, there's violence, you want to put yourself away from that, and you want to make sure that you are behind all that and not where it's going. For instance, say there's rioters or carnage or issues happening, stay on the backside of that. And why? Is because as they move forward, as they go wherever they're going, it allows you to hunker down, see what they've left, you pillage and you scavenge through it. Now, I know people are like, oh, you're stealing. I'm not trying to say steal. I'm saying there's things that's going to be burned, left, but things you can use. You need to learn to utilize what you can to get you safely out. If it's things that you can carry, you carry it. You can find out what you can do with it later. You can barter with it later. You need to utilize any and everything that you find. So that brings me to my next point. You need to make sure you know how to get out of your city without using your smartphone, without using your GPS. I would challenge you to own a compass, own a true map, a true atlas. We have one in our car, we have one in our bug out bag, and it allows us to know that if I had to walk, I know where I'm going. Now sometimes big cities really can confuse me. I may not know where I'm at because I'm not familiar with it. And if you're not familiar with your city, you need to be familiar with your city. You need to go one day when nothing is going wrong and find ways out by taking alternate routes, by taking alternate highways, by finding the best path that may not be the most popular path. It may be cut through roads, it may be sidewalks, it may be between buildings, whatever it may be. You need to make sure you have a path, and you may want to take your atlas and your compass and learn it and draw those things out. Now you may look crazy, and a lot of people may stare at you and say, what is this guy doing? He can use his smartphone. He doesn't have to have that. What is he walking around with a paper map for? But when it comes down to it, you'd be surprised how people don't know their north, south, east, and west, and how to get out of a city, where these streets are leading to. The last thing you want to do is lead yourself into a bad situation. Surrounding areas are very important. Understanding that you're watching, understanding the scavenging and foraging element, understanding the movement of where you're going. It's all about understanding where you're going and having a plan to get there. Have a map, have a compass. Make sure you understand how to read the map and compass, and you may want to find a way to get out before you have to get out. You need to make sure that you become a gray man. You become the person who who is not seen. I would make sure that you're not wearing bright clothes. I would make sure that you are not standing out in the crowd. You don't want to stand out in the crowd. You don't want anyone knowing that you're bugging out and you have all your supplies and you know what you need to get out of this city or get out of this urban area. You need to make sure that your bag, your bug out bag, is very inconspicuous. So mine and my son's bug out bags are very similar to just a backpack. They're not bright. They're not you know, made with armor. They're simple and they're meant to be just unrecognizable as just a common bag. There's gonna be a lot of people carrying stuff and getting out and trying to do the same thing you're doing. However, you have a plan. So you become the gray man, you become the person who no one brings attention to. So whatever you're doing, whatever you have, you make sure yours is not seen. If you're pillaging and scavenging and you find good things, you put them in your bag, you get them out of the way, you put them in your hoodie, you put them in your shirt, you put them wherever you can to not bring attention to yourself. Your goal is to stick to the plan. If you can find some things and scavenge and pillage and it can help you along the way, great. Get it, get back to the plan. Make sure your family is safe while you're doing this. If you're doing this as a single person, then no big deal. If you're doing this with family, that becomes a harder liability and harder time that you will have to do in making sure they're safe as you're doing this. So you find a place to hunker down, you make sure they're safe, and then you go out and you do what you need to do. You pick up what you can, you scavenge what you can, and then you become the gray man. You want to try to do this, and you want to try to have very, very simplistic wear and clothing on. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're scavenging in your Rolex and your Gucci suit and your really nice high-end bag and you're all dressed in pink, yellow, white, and red, you're gonna stick out. So if you have something that somebody wants, they may want to come get it. Be the one that's unforeseen, be the one who's inconspicuous, get what you need, have what you need, you have a plan, you start operating your plan and you get out of there. So let's recap for a second. We've went over being the gray man. We've went over your water situation. We've went over having a plan, bugging in, bugging out. We've talked about scavenging and foraging and understanding to get what you need when you can, when you see it, and all the carnage and all the craziness that's going on. I'm not saying steal, not doing that at all. I'm not saying go loot in stores. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about finding what you need through all the dismay that's going on, getting it, getting back to your family, and getting out of there. Now, we talked about first aid. Now we're going to talk about something that, again, that's very, very important. Along with having a map, along with having your bag, you need to have skills. 2 skills I would say you have to have. First is self-defense. Now, I mean this in 2 ways. First and foremost, I carry everywhere I go. I'm enhanced carry. I believe in guns and ammo. I don't care if you believe in it. A man with a gun is going to do a lot more than saying I don't have one. So I would challenge you, if you can own a gun where you're at, go through the legality, make sure you have a gun. With a gun, the reason I want to bring up the gun first before we talk about other self-defense, you need to have proper understanding of your gun and guns in general. I would challenge you to take a gun class, understanding your firearm. Not only understanding your firearm, understanding someone else's firearm. The important part of that is you may learn your firearm and know how to work your firearm. But in a situation where you see someone else's firearm, or you see someone else have a gun, or you need to dismantle a gun, or you need to make sure a gun is not lodged or causing a major issue, or you're needing to clean a gun. I mean, there's so many different things you need to do with a gun other than just point and shoot. You need to understand your gun. Now, say we're in a carnage situation, you're scavenging, you're foraging, and you find someone else's gun, or you find a gun on the street. Now we're talking major scenario situation where there's guns, there's riots, there's things going on. You need to make sure you understand guns in general, because there's a gun that can benefit you, it can be an asset, but it can also be a liability and kill you because you don't know how to operate it. So if you don't know guns, you need to learn guns, but then you need to learn other guns. You need to understand how I can take that gun and use it to take care of my family, to get me to safety. A lot of you said, okay, I live in the UK, or I live in an urban area where guns are not permitted. Okay, if you can't own a gun or you can't find a gun, that's okay. You're at a disadvantage. I'm not gonna lie, you're at a disadvantage, but that's okay. You need to find ways to have other items that can protect yourself. You need to have knives, machetes, axes. You need to have, if you can't own certain things like that, have kitchen knives, have skinning knives. Anything like that is very, very important. Hopefully you'll never have to use them. You never know what you may need and what you may run into as you're trying to get out of town or out of the city. So have knives, have a billy club, have a machete, have a bat, have things that you can use. There's times in olden wars, and when we talk about the Revolutionary, some people didn't have guns. They may have had a billy club. They may have had a rake, a hoe. There may be ways that you can use some of those things like they did in history, where they may have not had guns, but they had ways to just fend off someone. It's not the point that you're gonna go out, you know, swinging and trying to be crazy with it, but if you just have something on your side, you have a simple club, you have a simple bat, it will at least hopefully deter people from coming to mess with you or your family as you're getting out. So if you're able to have a gun, have a gun. Don't show your gun. Don't put it. Don't act like you're a cowboy and put it on your hip, because you're going to be the target for everything. You hide it, just like we talked about being the gray man. You want to make sure that your gun is put up at all times. At any point in time, I have a gun on me. However, at any given time, you're not going to find it and you're not going to see it. No telling where it's at on me, but I know how to get to it. I know how to use it, and I've learned the skills to have it. Having something like a baseball bat, machete, knife, things like that. Let's get into another great topic that I think you need to learn. And you're not too old, you're not too young, it's not too late. It's time is now. You need to learn hand-to-hand combat. You need to understand self-defense. You can use your hands, you can use your feet, you could use your head. So Aiden and myself, my son and myself, we've had years of karate experience. Now, does that make me the best martial artist in the world? Nah, it doesn't. But it does put me some skills to know that I can do something to get my family to a safe place. Survivalship and understanding how to use your hands and feet are very good. We've studied in Ishinryu and Hapkido. Now you may learn something completely different. You may learn just a simple boxing technique. Understanding that your hands and your feet can be a weapon in self-defense are huge. I know I would rather have a gun, I'd rather have a bat, I'd rather have a knife, I'd rather have things that I can literally tangibly grab and use against someone that is an aggressor towards me or that's hurting my family. However, if worse comes to worse, I've had years of training to say, okay, we're gonna now be able to defend ourselves with hands and feet. All these scenarios are our last ditch efforts to save your family. Do you want to be tussling and rustling and fighting? No, you want to be the gray man and get your family out of there. But you may come into a situation that you didn't foresee on the way out on your plan, and you're faced with a dilemma. If you don't have the things like self-defense items such as firearms or bats or billy clubs, then you've got to learn to defend yourself with your body, your hands, your feet. You may not go to an instructor and do years of martial arts. That's okay. Put yourself in front of the TV while you have TV in YouTube, and even though you may feel stupid and crazy, learn some techniques that could help you. It is something you could think about to say, you know what, if I can't own a gun and I only have a bat, what else do I need? If this guy takes my bat, what else am I gonna do? Just stand there and let him hit me with it? Are you gonna just let the guy shoot you or stab you? Or are you gonna protect your family? Last point we talked about on the very first part of this video, you have a plan. That plan is to get you safely hunkering down in home, or safely out making your way out of town, or making your way away from the danger. If it's natural disaster, or if it is literally a war or situation where the crap has hit the fan and you're in a crisis or collapse. Lastly, you have to find a place to go. By now, you have navigated, you know your path. You know self-defense tools, you know self-defense ways to get you safely. You're becoming the gray man. You're not trying to use mass transit to get out of town. Now there may be ways and points on your journey that you have to hunker down. There may be times that you have to change your plan a little bit because of some situation that is in front of you. But ultimately you need to stick to your goals of getting from point A to point B. Point B needs to be part of your plan. What is utopia? You have to find what we're working towards. If you don't have a plan with a bunch of community people to know where we're all going together, then you and your spouse or you and your family need to know where you're going. Say there was a forest or a place you used to camp when you were a kid. Say there is a neighbor that you knew back 20 years ago that could be a friend to you. Say there's someone now that you can build a camaraderie or friendship with. Say there's a farm 10 miles out that you can say, you know what, I know those people, or I want to get to know those people because one day I may utilize and need them for that. Those things need to be kind of set in place before this time comes, because again, we may not have cell phones, we may not have ways of communication, we just know where we're going. I know those are weird conversations to have, but it may be one of those things one day that you go to your neighbor, or you go to this person out of town, and you work for them, you build a relationship with them. And this is what's so important about having community. You don't want to do this alone. You really don't. You want to have friends, you want to have community. That's why it's important to have a church or have a community center, to have things like this where you can talk to other people about, because there may be someone in that church, there may be someone in that community, there may be someone that you know that already has an affiliation 5 miles out of town, who is willing to put you up in a barn, who's willing to take you in for safety, who you can trust. Build those relationships, understanding the value of getting there. I'm gonna tell you a little personal story about us. We have our home, we have our farm. We are set up and ready to make sure that we can bug in any situation right here. All right, that's our goal. I would never want to leave this place unless I had to. However, if I have to, we know where we're going. I have a place that we know that all our family knows where that place is to take us to safety, where we can hunker down in a different area. We know the routes, we know several places how to get there. Now, I don't live in a metro urban area, I'm not saying that. But it goes, no matter where you live, it goes in the same scenario. You need to be where you can get out of that area and get to safety. If you don't have any of that, it's time for you to build relationships. Getting your family to safety and being with them is the most important thing. But if you have friends, you have family, you have community, you have a church member, church friends that you can then do this together, it sure makes it a lot easier. The more people you have that understand this plan, the better chances you have to get out of town, get to safety, get to a final destination that you're wanting to get to, and take care of your family. For a normal prepper that's been doing this for years, you've got plans, you've already set this up. But for people who are just starting, take these into consideration. Some of these may not even pertain to you. Some of you may say, hey, I'm just gonna bug in. That's what I want to do. Well, hey, we've got other videos coming up on medical supplies that you need. We've got videos coming up on how to build your pantry like it's supposed to be. I've got pantry tours that you've seen. I've got 10 items that you need, no matter where you're hunkering down at. Check those videos out. But in a situation where you're in a city, and right now, a lot of our cities are in dismay, no matter if it's the politics of it, no matter if it's the crime, whatever it is, a lot can take place. We're just one strike away from a match of something really going crazy in our world. What I'd like for you to do is you watch several videos of people like us. You can watch themacs. I hope you watch every video and binge watch them. But there's other preppers that you can watch too, and then you can take bits and pieces of what can benefit you and build your own plan. Don't take my word for it. Do your research, understand the value of all these skills, items, and things that we talked about, and hopefully it will help you and your family get to safety and get to your final destination from point A to point B and get out of the city and survive. Thanks guys for watching. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.